Money is a result. Write that down, everybody. Money is a result. Wealth is a result. It's a result of what? I just told you. What is it? Solving a problem for someone. That's it. So now, what are you now? What are you? Everyone say this. Put this up, put your hand on your heart, put your hand up, whatever you want, and say, I am a problem solver. I am a problem solver. Now you know what you are, because if you're not a problem solver, you're broke.
Everybody, Harv Eker. Thank you for your time, Harv.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, just quickly, how are you in the current times? Are you safe? Is your family okay?
I'm only kidding. Yeah, thank God. Thanks for asking. We've been fantastic. Thank you. My family's been great. We, as many people did, or most people did, hunkered down for about 6 weeks. My daughter was with us in San Diego. And yeah, we actually followed the rules. We stayed home. There was a couple of times that we went out shopping for groceries. And, that was interesting, wearing gloves and masks right from the beginning,
really?
wiping down everything as soon as we got it into the garage. And then from there, stripping down all of our clothes, throwing them into the laundry, running to take showers and washing our hairs. So, it's calmed down a little since then, but definitely careful. And like, I was just in the grocery store right now, and the pharmacy, and bought some shakes and whatever. Before I went out, I took all these wet naps and wiped everything down, put them back in the bag. And so, yeah, I'm pretty careful with it and wear masks all the time. And I think that's important. It's just one of the things that we don't know is that we don't know. We don't, everyone, this is a lesson for everybody, because a lot of people sound like they know, and you'll only find out later they didn't really know, especially, and I'm going to be right up front, really blunt, if that's okay. Coaches and teachers, I don't think I have to tell your audience, who, by the way, good move working with Marcus. I know Marcus really well, and he's got the reason Marcus was a trainer for us and is a trainer, he's got a huge heart. He knows his stuff, but he's got a huge heart. He really cares, and that makes a big difference. But as you know, Marcus, there are, business opportunities everywhere on be a coach, be a mentor, a knowledge broker, this, that, and they take lots of money from people and train you to be a expert, right? An expert. And that's great if you're an expert, right? But if you're just looking for a business opportunity and a way to make money as being an expert, it's not so great for the students, because they have very little experience. A lot of I would venture to say, and I'm not tuning my own horn, I just say, I listened to a lot of those experts when I was younger and broker, and in the end, I think you really have to decide who you want to learn from. Do they know what they're talking about? Most importantly, have they done it to the level that you want to do it at least themselves? And can they teach it? And then thirdly, do you resonate with them, with their energy, with their style? Like, as you know, Marcus, I have let's call it a very in-your-face style. I don't pull any punches for the most part. And although I'll try to be nice today if I can, just because it really bothers me when people who want to succeed and are willing to put in the effort necessary to succeed, and they're not succeeding. That is something that it hurts my heart, because, I went through that myself. So, everybody, listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and, ask the question in your mind, has this person really done it themselves? Or did they just take a coaching course and now, for $5,000, and now they're out there trying to make a living at it? Right. So it's very, very important to recognize that. And I think that kind of leads into our discussion here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because you just said something about when you first started and you struggled because, you talk about being broke for what, 10 years or more when you were younger.
Yeah.
What was that like? And what changed things?
Yeah, it was horrendous. It was the worst time of my life. It should have been the best because I was in my 20s, right?
Okay.
But I left college. I have to be honest with everybody, and I left college after the first year because after a whole year of college, I wasn't even rich yet. Like, what the heck's going on? What a waste of time this is. And I went out. I was out there to try and become a millionaire. My parents came to North America with nothing. They worked their buns off. And I got ingrained when I was young that if you don't have money, you die. It's survival. It's not about, oh, you can buy a boat and a plane and have 3 vacation homes. My parents didn't know from any of that. We were, lower middle class, I would say. We weren't starving. My parents were wonderful parents, but they worked, 14 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week, and both of them. And then so I learned early that money was really, really important. It didn't run my life, but I just knew that was something I had to have. So I left college after the first year. And I went out right away to, start, first of all, getting a job, and that didn't work out. And then started a business that didn't quite work out. After 10 years, I ended up going through 10 different businesses, none of which worked, and 14 different jobs, which they didn't work for me because I recognized after 14 times that I was unemployable. I'm not a person that has an easy time working for other people. I need to take it on myself because I always found, like, what is this guy talking about, or what's he doing, or why is he doing it this way, or I could do better. But of course, when I went into my own business several times and I kept on saying I could do better, I wasn't doing better. So it seems really odd now to be able to say to people that I was like really dead broke, like destitute. Like, literally, there were many, 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 way too many nights that I had to choose between putting $5 of gas or petrol in my car or eating dinner that night. And there were way too many times there was no dinner. And I mean,
Wow.
it sounds so strange right now, but I think that for me, that's why I say it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart when I see people, I recognize people who are trying, and they're not making it, and they just can't put it together. It's kind of like, here's the building, it should be here and here and here and here, and it goes up, and it doesn't do that. It's kind of here, and then this falls, and they're just not sure why. And they're getting information from 1,000 places. Most of that information, in my experience, is like, what? Where are you getting that? And the thing is, though, is you've got to kind of have a little bit of a system for what actually works that can be put together, not a bunch. So another way to put it, it's like a puzzle, right? But most puzzles, if you look at the cover of the puzzle, it is a picture that is already put together, right?
Right.
And all the pieces are then taken apart in the jigsaw puzzle, mixed up, and now you get but in the end, it actually turns into that puzzle. That vision actually happens. It's supposed to happen, and the pieces of the puzzle work together to make it happen. But when most people are out there trying and struggling, they don't have a completed picture. So they have all these pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, but they're pieces that go into 28 different pictures. And it's like, no wonder this doesn't work. It never worked in the first place. It doesn't work together. And so, for me, that's why that's why I'm in this business now. That's why I'm in the training business, is because, once I actually did make it, I guess we'll talk about that. But, I went from, after 10 businesses that didn't work, I finally had a conversation, let's say, with a friend of my father's. He was my dad would have poker night on Mondays, and these 5 guys would come over every Monday, and they were all from Europe and the old country. But one of these guys was really, really, really rich. He owned half the city. He was a building developer, and he had apartment buildings and shopping malls and wealthy, and everybody knew who he was. And he was a take no prisoners guy. He was like straight up, this is the way you do it. So I remember I was almost 30 years old, I had to move back with my parents and lived in their basement, the lower level of their home, which was the basement. and I lived there, and I came up one day to get something from the fridge, and I passed him in the hall, and he said, "Harv, your dad says you're a bum." I said, that's great. A lot of encouragement there, Dad, my dad thought I was a bum. He said, "You're a bum. You can't make any money. What's the matter with you?" So I said to him, "Yeah, well, I'm doing my best." And he said, "So what's your problem? Why aren't you doing well?" I said, I don't know. He goes, "That's your problem."
Okay.
I said, "What do you mean that's my problem?" He says, "You don't know." He says, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do well in? How do you want to make it? In what arena?" And I said, in business. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own business. I want to do well. He says, "So what do you know about business?" I said, "Well, I thought." He says, "Well, you don't, because obviously that's your result." He says, "If you were going to be the best piano player in the world, what would you do?" I said, "I guess, I study with the best piano players." And he goes, "Exactly. Same with an athlete of any sort, tennis player." He says, "So if you want to be a rich person in business, have you ever thought of studying rich business people?" And at the time I was like, "Nah, I'll just make it on my own. I mean, I'll figure it out. And, I'll go to a few seminars and read a few books, and I'll figure it out eventually." Right. But it wasn't happening. So because I had been between businesses and I was between jobs, I took the next, believe it or not, 6 months. And all I did was study rich business people. And I went through books and magazines and newspaper articles, and went to the library. And in the end, I put together this set of principles. Actually, it was 7 principles, and I added an 8th one after. 7 principles they all seem to have in common. And I put them together. And the next business I opened, I started with a $2,000 credit card loan. I had no money. And I became a millionaire within 2.5 years using the system. And I went, wow. Okay, this puzzle pieces, they go together and they actually form wealth. That's cool, right? So all these people that used to know me when I was, broke, which for over a decade, would say, look at your car, look at your house, look at how did that happen? And I'd go, well, for 10 years and earlier, I used to think and act and do business and do my money like this. And that didn't work. And so I changed all of that around, and I started doing this, and that worked. And I started telling them the difference between this that didn't work and this that did work. And they were all enthralled because they were all doing this. It didn't work, like me learning from the same people, going to the same seminars, reading the same books, trying it out themselves. It didn't work. And everything I was talking about was kind of new to them. And especially when it was all put together in a 1 through 7 step method, right? And it has to be followed in order.
Right.
And so they asked me, why don't you teach this stuff? Nobody else is teaching it. And now I was the kind of person that I was afraid in class to raise my hand, because what if she calls me and I have to open my mouth, and the teacher would come by and say, "Who's got the answer to?" And I'd throw my pencil on the ground, like go look for it. So I'd be under the desk when she's looking around for me. I hated thinking about speaking in public, and teaching would be the last thing that I would ever envision for myself. The last thing. But everyone kept asking me. And I wasn't teaching. I was just saying, all right, this is what I did. This is how it worked. And people started asking. So I just kept doing that. So ended up I was a big learner, but I didn't like learning in schools, right? That wasn't my thing. And I ended up having a hobby, a really strange hobby, believe it or not, is I was into super learning, this methodology of learning faster and remembering more. And I don't know why. I read this book called Super Learning. And then I started taking these courses on super learning, on what's called accelerated learning technologies, with some of the best people in the world, the best people in the world, the people who taught Tony Robbins or Robert Kiyosaki. Even though Robert doesn't use it all that much, he does have the ability to use it. He knows what he's doing. But Tony uses it all the time, and myself, and there's a few others, and now yourself, et cetera, that we've taught how to do it. And it's a very effective tool. And so I put together as a hobby this business course and this accelerated super learning methodology, put it out there, and I guess the rest is history. It actually works. It works in the real world. It works for real people. And it's very easy to understand. And it's a method that's entertaining. You learn faster, you learn more. And that's the beginning of the whole career. So, you know,
Well,
there's things that actually work.
Yeah. And I definitely want to, if we can, if we have time, really go into, you know, those principles. But first, you know, the 7 principles you were talking about, right? And then you said you added an 8th one.
I added one. So there's 8.
Yeah. So what do you think is the one thing that stops people becoming wealthy? I mean, you mentioned this, the puzzle. That really, I wrote that down because it's so true. So what is that the one thing, or is there anything else that stops people from becoming wealthy, and what can they do to change that?
Well, if we're talking business, let's just back up a little bit, because I know you teach investments primarily. And let me just say that there's those two work hand in hand together. So we should just talk about this right now. And I'll draw something that will probably end up being backwards, I guess. I don't really know. I wasn't planning on drawing anything.
All right, this is a first. Let's have a draw.
Right. So I'm not sure. Is it backwards? Job and or business.
Yeah, very
and
good.
Investment, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You know, if you can get your investments to be active income, then that's great. But what most people do is they have a job or a business that earns money, and I'm going to put this in American or Canadian dollar sign, and it earns money, but it's active income. In other words, you're working, you know, in a job hourly, or getting paid, or your time, or you're making money in your job, or you're making money in your business, but you're working it, right? You're working 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, whatever, you're working. Then what you want to do is you want to take that money and you want to invest it. Because where's the money going to come from, right? So you take that money and you invest it, and this ends up being one of your passive income structures. Right. And then you take the money from here and you build that up with more investment, right? So this is your machine, your money machine right here. And now you take that money machine, whatever it spits out, and you put it into here. Right. So, and of course you have methodology of actually making active income on your investment side too. So what I was talking about is the business side. So what most people don't realize, I'm going to draw another photo here, another picture.
And that's what people need right now, Harv. They really need to know how to get more of that money in right now.
Yeah. So you said, what's the one thing that they don't, that's stopping them?
Yeah, from becoming wealthy. Yeah. And can they even change that?
Oh yeah. So it's a bit of a puzzle. It's a methodology, a formula that I like to say, because I thought it was one thing. I thought it was, if you have the right vehicle, the right business at the right time, you got in at the right business at the right time, and I wouldn't doubt that happens with investments too, then you're going to get rich, because other people are getting rich. You know, they're getting rich in opening coffee shops or yogurt stores or fitness stores or whatever it is, which I ended up doing. And, or they're in this business or that business or whatever's hot at the time, and they're doing well, and they get in on it and they make a lot of money, right? No, some do, but most don't, right? Because they don't have the rest of it. So there's a formula, and the formula looks like a little triangle, and it says you need to have the right vehicle at the right time.
Okay.
You need to have the right knowledge. Right. You need to have the right you. Well, I didn't know that. I especially didn't know this one. I didn't know that I was in any part of this formula. That, you know, so, you know, what is that? What is that formula? So the right vehicle is obviously the right business, the right situation. And you know, from investments, right vehicle is imperative, because if you get into the right vehicle at the wrong time or the wrong vehicle at the right time, it's over, right? Well, it's the same in any business. So like today, for example, with this whole COVID situation, there are some businesses to totally get into right now, and other businesses to completely steer away from. And anything that has to do with, you know, right now, if I was starting my business career, I really believe I would make tens of millions in the next couple of years. or more. I mean, some of these things is so obvious of what's going to happen, because what's happening now with COVID, I'm going to let everybody know, because you already know this, that's going to stay. People aren't going to go back to their offices if they don't have to, because the companies are going to figure out and going, and we have 1,000 employees, of which 950 are able to work from home, maybe a little less efficiency, but now with new electronic, digital, online methodologies, platforms to make it even more efficient, which is still open. Zoom can't be the only one for very long. Hello. Okay, whoever's the next one's going to make another $1 billion and sell it to whoever, right? To Facebook or to Microsoft or somebody. And there'll be dozens of them. And plus little pieces of that platform. Okay, we can make the cameras better. We can make the recordings better. We can do this part better. We can make the sound better. All those type of things. So they're figuring out, they're going, okay, 950 to 1,000 people are working from home. We're doing well. It's all great. And why do we have this 50,000 foot office building that we're paying $1 million a year for? For what reason? No, we're not doing that anymore. You know what? That's going to be the wave of the future. So what can you do to give people an opportunity to work at home? What are the tools, whatever? If I was going to just get into one thing right now, I would be an online home office package specialist, right there, boom. And whether it's, we have the best selection of desks and computers and microphones and this and that, and you need your stationery, all that stuff, boom, delivered to your home, set up by our people in 60 minutes or less, you have your office, boom, done. Whatever it was. So all these opportunities are so obvious because whatever people are doing now, they're going to keep doing, right? And the social elements that have to be done online now. So, we have live courses and they're not really happening right now, but there is one company, for example, that is doing Zoom-based programs live, but they're doing it in a huge way. And I went down to see they're not offices, but they're kind of their presentation hall. It looks like it's a seminar with, I'm not kidding you, there's 500 monitors up there where you can see each one of them has 4 people in it. So you can put 2,000 people you're looking at. It's like looking at people in the audience, in a room. And you're talking to them. Who wants to raise that? Who wants to answer that? Oh, Jim over there. Jim, can you put the camera? Jim, go. And boom, there he is. It's like they're not going to be the only ones for long, So just think of what's working now, what people are needing now, what problems they have now, and jump into that. My goodness, of course. So bottom line, you need the right vehicle at the right time. You need the right knowledge. There's 2 kinds of knowledge, 2 kinds. One is business in general business knowledge. And the other one is business specific knowledge. That means you have to understand general business, like things like marketing, sales, negotiations, finance, hiring, firing, all those type of things, putting a team together, managing, all those type of things, right? So you need to understand all the general business, but business specific. Like if someone's going to be in the training business, the information they need about the training business is business specific about how do you succeed in the training business? What do I need to know about the training business?
So industry specific.
Yeah, if someone else was going to be in the water business, they need to know all about water and packaging and bottling and all kinds. And the training business doesn't need to know that. So business specific. And then there's this one, the triumvirate. And this is the root right here. It's the right you. And that's the one that I was really falling down on. I didn't know, RY, right you. Because it's like, I thought you just get in the right vehicle, you're golden. And then I thought that wasn't working. So it says, I need to know more about, business, and I need to study more about these industries before I get in. So I'd go to work for them, and then I'd go open my own, and I still wasn't doing it. And the part that I was missing was one day I was so depressed. It was my 9th business that had gone down the drain. And I remember being so depressed that I'm being rough. I don't know your people very well, but I know you. But I covered up the mirrors in my house, my condo. I was living in my parents' condo in Florida because they weren't there and I couldn't afford rent. I covered up the mirrors. I wouldn't answer the phone. I wouldn't go out almost 6 days, not going out for 6 days. I wasn't eating. And I was just totally, I'd never been depressed before, but I was just like, I was crying all the time. How could this happen to me? I was so embarrassed. I mean, I don't know why, I know I was trying to prove something to my parents, but also to myself. I was just embarrassed. I was so disappointed in myself. And finally I said, okay, I got to get some air, and so I pulled off the first sheet off the mirror and I looked in the mirror and I had a bit of a scruff and I looked in the mirror and I went, you're the problem. Just like that. It just came out of me. I never thought of it. It said, you're the problem. I said, I'm the problem? Like what how could I be the problem? Yeah. And then it really started to dawn on me. It's like, are you the kind of person that could be wealthy? Are you the kind of person that will be successful in an arena? And I looked at my habits and I looked at my mindset and I looked at my character at the time. And to be honest, I said, no, I don't work that much. Okay. I got more ideas than putting in hours. I don't have good habits. I'll get up when I get up and I go on and I go to sleep at 2, 3 in the morning and I still was partying in my 20s and going to clubs and bars and dancing and I was single. So that says all that needs to be said about that. And it was like Friday you didn't work because it's almost the weekend. Saturday you're partying. Saturday night you're like whatever. Sunday you're recovering. Monday you're still recovering. Got a half day of Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday maybe, and then it's back to Friday. It's like I started thinking about this. I said, you're not the what I wrote down. I said, what would be the ultimate success robot? Like if you could paint a person that was this is the kind of person, this is the character they would have, this is the habits they would have, this is the beliefs they would have, this is the mindset they would have. What would that look like? And I wrote them all down and I didn't have any of them. I was like completely a 0 out of 20. So that was my next thing. I said, you know what? I need to work on me. And something happened with my son. I don't want to get into right now, depending on our time, but something happened with my son. He was 6 months old. And I was so, at the time, like upset, angry, disappointed that he started crying and I was on the phone with a deal that wasn't going well like usual. And I held the phone. I screamed at him at the top of my lungs, like right in front. Shut the fuck up. I was screaming at him. And he just was. And he kept his mouth open, his eyes open, literally for like a minute. I went, he's like in shock. I killed my son. Like, what the hell did you just do? I said, I got to call you back. And I put it down. I picked him up and I put him to my heart and I started weeping and crying. I said, Jesse, I am so sorry. This will never happen again. I promise you, I will be the best dad in the entire world from this moment on. You will never get that from me again. Okay. I pray that you can forgive that. And I just realized you're not the kind of guy you want to be. So I changed all of my learning, et cetera, to personal growth, personal development. And I started working on my mindset. I started working on my habits, my character for sure. And that changed everything. That made the biggest difference of all. That's why you need these 3 things. You can have the greatest character, but if you got a crappy vehicle, what good is it?
Right.
You got a great vehicle, which I thought that was the big thing. You get the right vehicle, no. But if you don't know anything about it, what's the difference? So keep it simple. There's only 3 things you need to handle. You get the right your character, which we can talk about because we talk about that in our courses, your mindset, your mind, your beliefs around money, success, wealth, rich people, all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And your habits and your knowledge. Are you constantly learning, studying, et cetera? One thing that we teach in our courses on the knowledge side is, in general here, is that I'll give this to all of your students right now and say, I'm going to ask your students a question. Yeah. in whatever business you're in, whether even if it's in investments, whether it's options or whatever Marcus you're teaching these days, and the methodologies, which I'm sure are plenty of different strategies depending on the time. Here's your question. Are you the best in the world at it? Are you the best in the world at it? If the answer is, well, probably not, then my guess is you're probably not going to earn the best in the world money at it. Duh. You see, they go together. If you want to earn the most, if you want to earn the best, you got to be the best. And so my attitude changed completely. And I started working, instead of like 3-4 hours a day, 4 days a week, I started working 12, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. And a lot of it was working just on me. And I said, if you're going to be in this training arena now, and whatever arena you're going to be, and I was in the fitness arena first, you're going to be the best in the world at this, the best in the world. There was no times that I didn't have books and studying and reading and whatever, and trying things and method and talking to people and getting into mastermind groups. And I said, I worked at this. I practiced at this. I said, you are going to be the best in the world. To get paid the best, you got to be the best. If you take a look at any athlete, right? If you take a look at, why are they making $20 million a year? That's not even right. That's not fair. Not because they're the best in the world at what they do. That's why. It's pretty simple. When the guys who make 5 million, 8 million, 10 million, they're the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh best in the world. That's why. They're in the top 100 in the world. That's why. Are you? Are you? And here's the answer for most people. Oh, no. Well, then what do you need to do to be the best in the world? The best in the world at what you do. Because if you do that, and if you come even close to that, you're going to be rich.
Man, I hope people are taking notes. I'm taking notes. I've already filled half a page here. Absolutely fantastic. So you're really talking about the mindset part, but do you think that anyone, I mean, I have to ask this question, can anyone really develop a millionaire mindset, or is it kind of set when you're a child? You know, they always say between 0 and 7 years old, and that's it.
Can anyone develop a millionaire mindset? Absolutely. Okay, it's a way of thinking. You can develop that, but it's, for some people, be easier, and other people be harder to develop that. I mean, I'm asking your audience, have you ever tried to change anything about yourself? Sure. How's it going? Not that easy, is it? Right? I mean, come on, let's not bullshit here. I mean, you try to change, you want to be better, you try to change a habit here, it's hard. And why is it hard? Because we're habitual. And we're habitual, why? Because that we're habitual creatures because of survival mechanism. So because of survival, we don't want to be thinking every second going, oh, is that something that can hurt me? Is that something that can hurt me? Is that something that can hurt me? No. So the mind becomes a habit. This is the way we are to stay safe. We're safe here, so we'll keep on doing these habits. That's the way the mind works. It's a survival mechanism. So we develop habits based on that. And those habits come from a certain way. So can everyone develop a millionaire mind? Yeah. Will everyone become a millionaire with the millionaire mind? No. Hello? I think I just showed you. You need 3 things, not 1 thing. 3 things. But, okay? So you can have a millionaire. People say, oh, my attitude is great. What business are you in? Well, not really. I'm between vehicles. Okay, you're broke. Don't even talk to me. So you can put it together, man. It's not that hard. There's only 3 things. It's not that hard. Okay?
Yeah. Is that how you do it? Is that how, because you're famous for that phrase, aren't you? If you could spend 5 minutes with anyone, you can tell whether they're going to be wealthy or not. Is that how you do it? You just ask some questions. Like you just asked a couple of questions and you said, well, you're not going to make it.
Well, I think the biggest thing is going to be the mindset, because from the mindset, from the millionaire mind, will come the actions, the feelings and the actions necessary to get the results. So I think, in our Millionaire Mind program, we talk about this all the time, and we'll just write one more over here. And again, I hope it's not backwards, and I don't really know what's backwards. Sometimes I do a Facebook thing with Jesse, and he says, Dad, everything's backwards. I go, well, I don't know. So I'm just trying to teach whatever I know, give you my experience. So I'm not trying to be an artist here. So, okay, so we've talked about this many times in our courses, right? So can you see it? Does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
TFAR.
Yeah, good, everyone. So what does this say? It says your thoughts lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results, right? So where do your results come from? Well, the money and everything's not going to drop on your head, right? Probably not. I mean, if you're lucky, it will, but if that's your strategy, good luck, right? Chances are you might have to do more than that. So your results come from your actions. And your actions come from basically your feelings. Like, do I feel like doing this? I feel like, right? And where do your feelings come from? They come from your thoughts, right? So what's the source of everything? The way you think. But here's the question that we answer in our programs, Marcus, and that you're a famous instructor for, is that where do your thoughts come from? Why do you think the thoughts you think and other people think completely different thoughts? You think everyone thinks like you? Well, that's not accurate. And that is your thoughts come from your programming, your conditioning when you're young, right?
Right.
Well, that's where all that comes from. And so we can talk
that's
a little
good.
bit more.
Then it's not my fault. Then it's my parents' fault. That's fantastic. Now at least I have an excuse.
Yeah, the question is, how much money is that making you?
Yeah.
Great excuse. How's it working so far?
Right.
So, especially today, I don't want to get off on this because it's really annoying to me. Because I only pretend to be enlightened, but I'm really not. So, so things bother me, right? Because I see how people are digging themselves into a hole, and then they, the whole victim mentality today, and the whole entitled mentality today.
Right,
with a lot of younger people, especially. And I don't blame them because that's what they're hearing, on Facebook and all these other social media, which is a blessing and a curse, right? I think everyone can understand that. But it's like, everyone looks like they're in like the happiest. You're not putting on Facebook, this is my worst moment of my life. No, not usually, right? This is me eating lobster at, whatever restaurant. This is me, me and my family doing this. This is us climbing the top of the mountain. And everyone else is looking at this going, I'm just sitting here looking at my phone. Like, what a crappy life I have, right? So it's like the new blessing is, may your life be as wonderful as it appears to be on Facebook. So is it really like that? So if you're fortunate enough to have money drop on your head, if you're fortunate enough to have everyone just give you money, give you shelter, give you food, give you, shit, take it. I'm not against that. It's just not going to be forever. It's just not. At some point in time, you may need or want to have more than what other people are giving you.
Yeah. What if you lose it? You'll never be able to make it back because you never
exactly right. Like today in America, and I'm sure somehow in England and other parts of the world, they gave out all these handouts for COVID, and I'm not against that. But there's a lot of people in America that don't want to go back to work. They're making more money between unemployment and their COVID thing. They're making more money than they would working. And they're happy. And now they're getting lazy in this, and they're trying to figure out how to scam the system more. And I go, great, but I don't want to live on $1,200 a month. Do you? If that's what you want, go for it. If you want to live in a little tiny house, like one of those tiny houses, if you want to be a minimalist, I'm not against that. Do it. But you're not going to be rich. You're not going to fly first class. You're going to take a shitty vacation unless it's camping again, so everyone's different. I'm not telling anyone that you should be financially successful. I'm not telling anyone you should be rich. I'm telling, for me and for Marcus and for over 2 million of our students, they want to be rich. They want to do well financially. They mostly want to be financially free, so they don't have to spend their life worrying about having enough money, because there's no worry more worrisome than money, except for health and maybe relationships. Those are the triumvirate, right? If you don't have your health, what good is money or anything else? If you don't have good relationships, you're not going to be a happy person. And if you don't have money, you're going to worry about money all the time. You'll be fearful. What if I run out? What if I don't make it? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? Why can't I have that? Why? So, what I say is get money handled. And I like to say, the New York Times called me a financial evangelist. I'm a big believer in getting rich. I like that idea for people. So you ask me, can anyone develop a millionaire mind? The answer is absolutely. And part of that millionaire mind is going to be your work ethic, being willing to work for it, working smart, being intelligent about what you do, understanding your market. So definitely understanding business, marketing, et cetera, et cetera. Marketing is really critical, everybody. There's no business you can be successful in without understanding marketing. It's just one of the tools. It's like, can you be a good carpenter without a hammer and a saw? I don't know. I think it'll be hard, right? So,
what if you have a problem with that word, marketing or selling? Because
marketing and selling are a little different. Marketing is all the promotional element that has to do with drawing people to you. And it's way easier today than it was back in the day when I started. There was no such thing as an internet. There was no such thing as emailing. Like right now on our list, I know we have 500,000 people. I hit a button, 500,000 people get my message. How easy? How much did it cost? Nothing. I mean, it's like, oh my God. When I was going to sell, I used to be in the direct mail order business. And when I was if I wanted to send to 50,000, not 500,000, that would cost me about $75,000 and about 6 weeks to get ready. This letter had to be written and folded and put into an envelope with an order form and a pencil. And are you kidding me? This is even before 800 numbers came out. So this is easy picking now, but it's the same principles. You still have to get people to be attracted to you and trust you and want to do business with you. And that's one of the parts of the system that we talk about. So, literally, yeah, everyone can develop a millionaire mind. And that's critical because, the issue is that most people have remember we talked about the thoughts that are not supportive to the feelings and actions that will produce a successful result. They have unsuccessful thoughts that'll produce unsuccessful actions or no actions, like paralyzed, like I'm too afraid to do this. And that's the result, bad results. Bad thoughts end up as bad results. That comes from bad programming. I don't mean bad as in...
I don't know whether you can change the programming. Can you change? Well, you could, maybe. You could do new programming. How can you change your thoughts? New programming, maybe.
Well, that's what we do every day, isn't it, Marcus? That's what the Millionaire Mind's all about, right? So that's what we do. We're professionals at that. We are professionals in brain change technology. We go in there, we elicit all the programming that you have, the way you think, especially about money, wealth, success, rich people. How do you think about that? Then we elicit all that, and you take a look at it yourself, and you go, oh, that's good. That's good. That's not a very good one. That doesn't help me, I think. Thinking, rich people are bad in some way, shape, or form. Rich people are bad. They're greedy. They're bad. They're corrupt. Money corrupts me. Okay, we're not talking about whether things are true or not here. We're talking about, because there's no true or false or right or wrong. We're just talking about, is it helpful? Is that a helpful way of thinking about money? Let me just say this right now. We know this, Marcus, because we do this every day. It's like, if you believe that, and today especially with this whole social justice thing going on, they've painted rich people as the bad people. There was a believe it or not, there was last week a protest in Brentwood, California, which is one of the wealthier areas of Los Angeles. And you know what the signs were saying? Defund the rich. Take their money away. Don't take their money, give it to us. We don't have to work, just give it to us, right? That's not a helpful mentality. No one's going to do that. I'm sorry. It's you could maybe pray for it, but it's not happening. So rich people, here's the thing, most people want to be a good person, right? They believe themselves to be a good person. But let's just, how simple is this? If you believe in any way, shape, or form, even the smallest, tiniest bit, that rich people are quote unquote bad in some way, shape, or form, and you want to be a good person, guess what? You can never be rich. How could you ever be what you don't want to be, a bad person? Then you can never be that. You just slit your throat. It's over. You're done. You will never, ever, ever, ever be rich because not one little subconscious thought that rich people are bad or that money corrupts people or any of those things that are just not helpful for success. First of all, they're not true. And secondly, they're not helpful. And this is what we do all day long in our courses is help people understand the difference between conditioning. Now, we part of it is like, where'd you get that thought? What did you read it in a book? Probably not. Was one or both of your parents things like that? Grandfather, uncle, whatever, teacher, clergy, religious leader, culture. I mean, I feel bad for young people today growing up in this culture where they're believing that rich people are bad because they're never going to be rich. It's over. It's finished.
Amazing.
And I'll just for the edification for your own group, because now, are you in London now?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
And are a lot of your students in England?
They're all over Europe, really. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know how I feel about Europe, right? With the conditioning process. See, everybody, it's all about what did you learn when you were young, and where'd you get it from? So in Europe,
culture,
way back, culture. In Europe, are rich people, the thought about rich people, let's go back a few generations, good or bad? Well, there was, especially in England, it's like the poor and the middle class-ish, and then there's the aristocrats. They were like, a-holes, right? They were like, yeah, my shit doesn't stink, and you're a little bit. They're assholes, right? Like, so it's like, who wants to listen to them? You don't think these are nice people, good people? So you have generations of people looking at and also before that, what was it? It was the king and everybody else. Yeah. Right? The monarchy, the king, and everybody else. The king had all the wealth, all the gold, all the diamonds, put more money into the palace because the palace is it's not the king's. And they had all the money and everyone else had nothing. So it's no wonder you would think that rich people are bad.
Yeah.
But how helpful is that for you to be rich? It's not really helpful. So we need
whether it's right or not, it doesn't matter, as you said, right? Does it help you or not?
Right. But even today, now it's a little different. The queen doesn't have a lot of power. The monarchy doesn't have that power. And there's a lot of rich people in England and other parts of the world. And so here's a question I always ask in the seminars, as you know, Marcus, and I want to make sure that your people understand this because a small thing like this can just change your life. And it's like, is it true that there are some rich people who are quote unquote, the word bad, like not nice and arrogant,
yeah, sure,
greedy and take advantage of other people? Are there some rich people? Yeah, everyone says, yep. Okay, now here's another question. Is there some middle class people who are quote unquote bad, not nice, a little arrogant or egotistical? Of course there are. Are there some poor broke people who are not very nice? They're arrogant, this, that, whatever it is. They're not nice to be around. They're assholes. Of course you are. So what does this have to do with money? It's not a money problem. It's a people problem.
Yeah.
Right? And here's a simple question. Are you going to be a jerk when you get rich? You're going to go, people say, I always say in the seminars, we might have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. I say, how many of you would consider yourself to be a good person, a nice person, a good heart? Everyone raises their hand. I say, I hope so. Right? Mm-hmm. All right. So if you have a lot of money, are you going to become an a-hole? Are you going to become a jerk? Are you going to become a bad person? Like what amount of money is that going to be? So when you get $1 million, go, oh no, I'm now a bad person. It's like ridiculous. It's a dumb conversation. Who thinks like that? It's like, what? I wouldn't be. One of the things we talk about is that money will allow you to be more of what you already are. Let's say that again, everybody. Write it down. Money will allow you to be more of what you already are. If you're a jerk, money will allow you to be a bigger jerk. If you like to take advantage of people, money will allow you to take more advantage of people. But if you're a nice person, money will allow you to be even nicer. If you're a giving person, money will allow you to give even more. So it's not about the money, it's about you. And that's not hard to figure out. If I'm a good person, I'm going to stay a good person. As simple as that. So it makes a huge difference in your relationship with money and wealth and rich people will determine your results. It's as simple as that, as far as the mindset, the right you part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got two more questions. One of them is, what are the rules and principles that anybody listening here must follow consistently to achieve wealth and success?
Well, it depends on how you want to create it. You know, again, I do more about I make my money in the business side, and then I take that active income and put it onto the investment side, like many other people do. But in general, I think I would say that from especially a business standpoint, I think there's the 7 principles, which you know we can talk about after, but the one thing I want to make sure everybody understands is this idea of how do you make money and how do you make a lot of money? How do you make a lot of money? Okay. So first of all, rule number 1 is you don't make money. The only way to make money work at the mint. The rest of us have to what? We have to earn money, right? So the better question is what? How do I earn a lot of money? All right. Okay. But here's the thing. People don't understand how to earn money. How do you earn money? So the first thing that you have to understand is, where do you get all your money from? Where do you get all your money from? When I ask people, they go, the bank, or my job, or my business, or the universe, or God, or they don't even know where they get their money from. Listen, everybody, write this down. You get all of your money from one source. You want to know what it is? Can you guess? Yes. Other people. Write it down. Other people. The only elements in the universe that actually use the currency we call money is people, not cows, not stars, not the sky. The banks get it from people. You don't get it once you're robbing the bank, and you pay for that. So you get it from other people. So now there's another question. If you get your money from other people, why would someone give you their money? Why would someone give you their money? Why would you give someone else your money? Because you are going to what? Solve, listen closely, everybody, solve a big or little problem for them. That's why they're going to give you their money. You're going to make something more comfortable, more convenient, faster, better, easier, et cetera, in their life. That's why they're going to give you their money. So now the question is, how do you earn money? By what? Listen closely, everybody, write it down. By solving a problem for someone. You solve a problem, a little big one, for someone. They, in exchange for that value, product or service, give you their money. Boop, 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 boop. Now you have your money, okay? Now, people make earning money so complicated, but it's not complicated at all. It's so simple. But what you have to have your headspace, your understanding in the right place. Where is that? Is it on making money? You know, what we say, Marcus, all the time is that if you focus on money, you're not going to make any money, because money is a result. Write that down, everybody. Money is a result. Wealth is a result. It's a result of what? I just told you. What is it? Solving a problem for someone. That's it. So now, so what are you now? What are you? Everyone say this. Put this up, put your hand on your heart, put your hand up, whatever you want, and say, I am a problem solver. I am a problem solver. Now you know what you are, because if you're not a problem solver, you're broke. Even if you're in a job, if you're not solving a problem for that company, you are out on your butt really quick. You got it? Of course. They're only hiring you to solve a problem, right? Here, we don't have enough people in our finance department. We're running behind. If we don't get this done, we won't know our numbers. We have a problem. Here, we're going to hire somebody for the finance. That's your position. Good guy. Over. You're solving a problem. You're a problem solver. In fact, the definition...
Let me do it, because I don't want people listening to this and not doing it, okay? So I am a problem solver. Okay. I'm a professional problem solver. Okay.
That's what you are, right? That's how you get paid. So even the definition of an entrepreneur, or even a person in any job, is a person who solves problems for people at a profit or for pay. A person who solves problems for people at a profit or for pay. So that's all you are. You're a problem solver. Now, if that's your mentality, how do you make money, everybody? By solving what? How do you make one piece of money? Here's a piece of money right here, one money. Okay. So one money. And how do you make money? I'm going to solve a problem for this person, they're going to give me one money. Okay. So very simple. So now I want to make a little, now I want to earn a bit more money. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to solve the same problem for another person, and they give me their money. Now more money. I'm going to solve the same problem for another person. Oh, now I have three monies. All right. So one money, if I solve a problem for one person, I get one money. Got it? If I solve the same problem for some people, all these people, I get some money. And if I want to make a lot of money, what do I have to do? You tell me. I have to solve that problem for what?
For many people.
Yeah, that's right. If I want to make one money, I have to solve the problem for one person. Some money, I solve the problem for some people. A lot of money, I solve the same problem for what? A lot of people. Boom, that's it. That's it. So now what do you have to do? They say, so how do I make my money? I make a lot of money by solving a problem for a lot of people. That same problem though. I make,
yes, that's the distinction. That's really good. So it's the same problem. You don't have to go, oh, now I have to find, it's just, okay.
No, you're going to have back ends to that. You're going to have additional things you help people with, but it's in the same arena. So we help people with success, personal success, financial success. And but from financial success, we already saw, what did we see? We saw that all these three things are important for financial success, right? We saw that. So what can we help people with? We help people with the right mindset, the right habits, the right character, the right you, right? We help people find the right vehicle. We help people with the right knowledge in all those vehicles for sure. And then we talked about how all this goes into investments. We help people with their investments. So are we solving one problem or 20 problems? It's still the same thing. People want to do well financially. And so we can teach on all of these different arenas. And there's 58 different things you can teach in any of them, right? And that's so, yeah, I'm not trying to be in the plumbing business at the same time. I'm not in the popcorn business. I'm not in the water business. He'll say, multiple streams of income. Are you joking me? You know how hard it is to even do well at one stream of income? Multiple streams. No, it's not multiple streams of income. It's multiple streams of passive income. So this one over here, you're going to have multiple streams of this is what Marcus teaches you to do. But this over here, how do you think you're going to have multiple things here and do what we said earlier of being the best in the world at it? Does LeBron James play hockey? No, he plays basketball. Only basketball? Only basketball. Does Tiger Woods play football? No. Does he play soccer? No. He plays what? Golf. Only golf, right? To be the best in the world, you got to focus, focus, focus. And that's the critical thing that a lot of people blow it. They try a little of this, they try a little of that. Here I'm in this business, but I'm also in this business and that business and that business and this business. And on the side, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this. You're broke. You're broke. You have to be broke because it takes everything you've got, 150% to be good at one thing. You want to be good at 85 things? No, you're not good at them. And I hate to be blunt, but come on. Just imagine LeBron James playing football and soccer and basketball and bowling and golfing. And he'd be terrible at basketball, right? He couldn't put the time and energy in. So you got to do one thing, you got to do it well. So the books that I write and talk a lot about, so about that. And then the question is, well, how do I find the problem to solve that's right for me? And then what do I do? And that's what, like, we have a book called Speed Wealth that talks all about how do you do
right.
that.
Yeah. Talk us a little bit about that. Talk us a little bit about that, because honestly, I mean, you can correct me. You're the only person I know who's managed to exit the seminar business successfully. Because, I mean, as far as I know, you created a system. And when I think of system, I think business.
Yeah. I'm the only person I know also. It's a bit weird, but what did I say from the very beginning, everybody? Did I say, I'm like love training. I want to be the ultimate speaker, trainer. No, I told you, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to raise my hand at all. Okay. But it bothered me so much that people were going off on the wrong tracks all the time and wasting their time, their money, their focus, their energy, and their life trying to be successful like I did for 10 years, just knocking my head against the wall, praying for an answer. And when I finally found an answer, I'm not going to say it's the be all and end all, but it certainly worked for me, and it's worked for millions of my students now, because it works. You can hear it's very simple stuff, right? And so when I felt it was my duty to just tell people about it. You know, if you think you're a good person, which you do, and you go to a good restaurant, don't you want to say, we should tell Sue and Jim about this. We should tell, Bob and Phyllis about this. We should tell Jeff about this, right? This restaurant's fantastic. We just had a couple last night text us and go, we had an anniversary dinner at Soul Domain here in Tahoe, and we love it. You sent us here. Thank you so much. Now, I wasn't getting paid for that. I just said, this is our favorite restaurant. We go there for all special occasions. Maybe you want to try it out. And they had great sauce, and he loved it, okay? It's normal to tell people about things that you think are good and that work for you, right? So I wasn't thinking I was going to be some big hotshot, author, speaker. I wasn't thinking, I was just trying to tell people, this is what I did that worked, okay? Maybe you want to try it. And so they did try it, and it did work, and they kept going, and people started flooding, going, you need to tell people this. I went, okay, well, I'll tell a few more. And I started with 8 people in my living room. Then I started with another 8, then 32. And then next thing I know, a few years later, I have 5,000 people in the room. And I'm still doing exactly the same thing. This is what I did that didn't work. This is what I did that did work, and keep doing it. It keeps working. Okay, here, you do whatever you want. So yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. And I really think that's how it was. So I thought right from the beginning that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business person. I'm a business owner. That means I'm the conductor of the orchestra. I never looked at myself as a personal service company. And by the way, all you personal service company people, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble because you are going to be very hard pressed. That means personal service means you have to be there in order for the problem to be solved, in order for the product or service to be delivered. And if you have to be there, you're limited. And wealth rule number 1, everybody write this down. Wealth rule number 1, no limits on your income. No limits on your income. And if you have to be there in order for your product or service or value to be delivered, you're limited because you only have 24 hours in a day and you ain't going to work all those hours. So, you're limited in your scope. So how can you solve the problem? You can solve the problem for some people and you'll make some money, but you'll never solve it for a lot of people. So I built the business right from the beginning as a business. And right after I wrote every course out word for word. And Marcus, you know this, when you look at our manuals, they're basically word for word. Yeah. So, okay, put everyone into a partnership. Choose a partner, A, B. Okay, A goes first. A, share this. B, share this. Stop. 2 minutes, go. Word for word for word for word for word, right? People go, why you could have written it all in a quarter of the time just by an outline. Go, that means I have to do it for the rest of my life, and I don't want to do that. I want to build a business. So I built, as you know, Marcus, at one point, it was the largest personal success training company in the world, much larger than Tony Robbins or anybody else. And then I had 272 full-time staff, okay? And office warehouse area of over 50,000 square feet. And so it was very large, way too large for what I wanted, but it just grew that quickly because it worked for people. And so at some point in time, I said, listen, I got other trainers, hired and trained tremendous people. Marcus, how hard is it to be a trainer for us? Well, how hard is it to get on stage with us?
It takes a long time even to get on stage, and
it takes years.
Yeah, it does.
Even if
a lot of people want to do it, they want to do it, but they don't. They don't manage to do it.
We have about 9 trainers that have gone through that are really, really strong, but that's in like 20 years. So 9 trainers in 20 years, that's not very much, is it, everybody? Because we only pick the people who have the stamina, the personality, but they have had to have done it themselves first. I'm not taking anybody who took a course on coaching and wants to come train with us, because they're going to get questions. And they're going to questions. The parents have to be able to say, this is what I did. this is what worked for me. You know, this is the methodology that I use, you know, and if it doesn't work for them, what's the use of them teaching it? So absolutely, I created a system. And by the way, this is why personal service companies have to make a change, because you have to create, one of the parts of the Speed Wealth system is you have to create a system. What's the word? A system of the business, the business and the value, the product or service to be delivered without you. The business has to work fully without you, not even a little bit with you. You have to be able to take a vacation for a month and nothing changes. Maybe it does better. That's a good thing. Okay. And you have to understand, you are the conductor of the orchestra. You're not the drummer. You're not the trumpet player. You're not first violin. Most people are great first violinists, but they don't know how to conduct the orchestra, right? So the conductor, you know, you're just conducting the orchestra, and at some point in time, you get a new conductor. So that's what I did. And I always tell people, listen closely now, everybody. This is really important. And this is the step number 8 that I added to the system here, okay?
Okay.
Step number 8 is that you're going to want to sell your business in the end. Now, you don't have to, but you want that choice, because if you set up your business in order to sell the business, you will do steps 1 through 7 properly. But if you set up the business and you're not thinking about selling the business and you don't want that choice, you're going to do steps 1 through 7 improperly. Why? Because you're going to still be a cog in the wheel. And you can, if you're the cog in the wheel, everybody, you're also the clog in the wheel. And that means nobody's going to buy your business. The number 1 rule of thumb. I love how people, they start their business. Oh, the T. Harv Eker Corporation. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Come to John Smith Accounting Services. Susan Evans Programming Consulting. Okay, don't get me started. Not a good idea. Who's going to buy Susan Evans Programming Consulting? Nobody will buy that, because you used your own name to build up your clients. Know you. They're stuck. You're stuck forever. So I wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, as you well know. I wrote several other books, but all of the time, even though people wanted me because I was the author, Marcus, what happened? Didn't I try from the very beginning? Didn't I try to say, even in the new countries, I wouldn't show up at all? A trainer goes, that didn't work as well. So, because they bought the book, they want to see me or Tony Robbins or Deepak Chopra or whatever. So I had to go, and then be honest, be right with your people here. So how many of them did I do with you in new countries, or we started a new country, and I went in, and out of 3 full days that start at 9 in the morning, go to 11 o'clock, right? That's whatever, 13, 14 hours a day, 2 days or 3 days. So 14, 28, about 40-hour course. How many hours did Harv Eker do? What did I do the first day?
I remember. I know on day 1, it was an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, an hour and a half, the introduction to get them off me, right?
Yeah, and then I came on.
Yeah. Isn't it true? Listen there, I'm telling you the secrets. I had to show up in these countries, India, South Africa, Brazil, all these places to open it up. And I would spend the first hour and a half doing the introduction, most of it to get everyone off of me. I'm not your answer. The system is your answer. The method is your answer. I'm not with you on Monday morning. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be holding your hand Monday, Thursday, next week, and next year. You need to understand the method that works so you can do this on your own without me, okay? And people started to recognize that and go, okay, we don't need Harv. So that Harv didn't come back that entire day and entire night. And the next morning, was Harv there? No. Marcus was on stage. And then another assistant trainer was on stage. No Harv. Harv would come in for 2 hours in the afternoon. Harv would leave. Was Harv there at night? No. Sunday morning, was Harv there? No. Harv would come in for an hour and a half on Sunday morning and leave, right? And then when did Harv come back? At the end for the circle song to say goodbye to everybody. I was still around, but I was doing other things or whatever, enjoying the sights. I don't want to be that guy, okay? If you are that guy or that gal, you're in trouble. Everything will be dependent on you. You'll never be able to sell your business. Did I sell the business? I sold the business to the company out of Asia. It was the largest seminar promoting company in the world. So we two hooked up. But yeah, from the very beginning, I don't get into any businesses that I'm not thinking I'm going to sell this business. Everybody listen up here. Very important. You will make so much more money selling a business than you ever could running a business. There's no comparison. You can work for 30 years running a business, operating a business, and you might make a good living, you might make some decent money, etc. But if you can set your business up, a good business, like we're going to teach you how to do, and you sell that business, you can make in 3 years what most people make in 40 years. In 3 years. You just need to follow the system we show you. It's very simple. It's as simple as everything I've been telling you here. But you got to do it in order. So yeah.
Okay. So hold on.
At the very beginning, everything was written to take the onus off of me and put it onto the business that someone could buy.
Okay, well, I need to know now, because you're talking about step number 8, right? Selling the business. But what about 1 to 7? What are they? What are the steps? What are the principles?
That's what's in the Speed Wealth book. So again, I don't really have time to get into all that, but I will do this instead. So everybody, Marcus and I are friends, and we are, Marcus was just here at my house in Tahoe last summer with his family, right? He had a great time.
Right. Great.
And Mark has been training for us in our courses as well as his own for many, 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 many years. He's our primary trainer. He's an awesome trainer. He knows what he's doing. He came from literally rags to riches himself. And that's the kind of people you want to deal with, not people who learned at some coaching program for $3,000. Not putting them down, but okay. And so, I'd like to be able to help you in your student set. I know this is a newer series for you. So why don't I just give everybody the book?
That would be
I'll just give everybody the book. And that way we don't have to sit around talking about it. And the book's listen, everybody, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm really simple because I think that complicated, I say simple is usable, complicated is interesting. And I'll take usable over interesting any day of the week. So I keep things really super simple. The book is only this big. It'll take you 40 minutes to read. You'll know more in 40 minutes about how to get wealthy quickly in any business you choose than you would with 40 years of studying God knows where, I don't know. But in 40 minutes, you'll have it all. You'll know the steps. The one caveat. So the book's called Speed Wealth. I say how to become a millionaire in your own business in 3 years or less. But the one caveat is this, you have to understand. 40 minutes, there's 8 steps. You have to do them in order. Listen close. Listen, watch my mouth, please. You will screw yourself up royally if you don't do them. If you do 6 before 4, it's over. It doesn't work. It's a jigsaw puzzle. Please, everybody. It only has 8 pieces, but they have to fit together. One has to build on the other. Does that make sense? So don't try to be overly smart about this. I'm just going to cut this corner. You miss a step, it won't work. It's a jigsaw puzzle. They fit perfectly together. Don't miss a piece or you won't be able to get the other pieces in. Hello? It won't look the same. So we know this works. It's 7 very simple steps. The first one, obviously, we talked about earlier, is how do you get your mind right? Your mind, your character, your beliefs, all that. How do you get that in order, right? If you don't have that, that's the root. You are the root of your success. When people say, well, I'm not successful as I want to be. And they, normally 99.9% of the time I say, okay, well, that's your problem. They go, well, what's my problem? You're the problem. What do you mean? I'm the problem. Yeah, not in a negative way. You need to develop the way you think into a way that rich people think. Really rich people, they think very similarly. I didn't know that. I found that out. And when I started thinking that way, everything changed for me. And then you layer on the next step, including the vehicle, the systemizing, the leverage, the duplication step, the sales step, et cetera, et cetera. It's really, really, I'm not going to say it's easy because nothing that's worthwhile is easy in my experience, but it is so simple that literally anybody with any gumption at all, with any desire at all, can and will do this. How many millionaires have we made? Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Cool. We didn't make them, the system makes them. I didn't make up the system. I recognize the system. If you look at the system, you're going to go, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, of course. This is what they're doing. I can do this. But nobody ever put it down as, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before. That's all. So let's just give everybody the book. Let them go to, we'll give it to you as a gift, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Go to www.harveker.com/SW, which stands for Speed Wealth. harveker.com/SW.
Okay.
And, we'll give them a free copy of the book.
All right. I'll make sure that, thank you, first of all, and on behalf of myself and everybody watching here, and we'll put the link below as well. But it's harveker.com/SW for Speed Wealth.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Harv.
Thanks for having me. And everybody, if I could leave it with one message is, there's only one thing that really gets in your way, and you're sitting on it right now. It's you. If we're saying the one thing to really work on, the book is going to give you the steps, but you can screw it up. The steps don't screw up. The steps are very simple. They're very obvious. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But like, what screws it up? Your mindset, the way you think. Do you have any, perseverance? And do you get distracted really easily? Are you on email all day long? Are you on freaking social media all day long looking? Are you on the news all day long? Okay, you can do that. Nobody's saying you can't do that. Do it. You're just going to hinder your results. You're going to hinder your results. That's all. Do you guys know that I don't watch the news anymore at all? I get a feed in the morning. It's a little app, and it's about it takes about 90 seconds to read. That's all that's in it, just the headline type of stuff. There's no opinions and views and fighting and debating and bullshit and all that. Everyone trying to make their own mark as a brand so they can get their own show and make a shitload of money. There's none of that crap, okay? Listen, I'm going to say this right now. You don't have to believe me. You do whatever you want. Don't believe a word I say, but mark my words on this. You are poisoning your mind. You are poisoning your spirit. You are poisoning your true and higher self. You're poisoning it with negativity by listening to the garbage that's out there. And they say garbage in, garbage out. I mean, what are you supposed to do? If you're like if you're like a robot steel, nothing affects you, you're lying. You're lying because everything affects you. We're vibrational energy. And so all vibration affects all other energy, right? It's simple as that. Einstein said energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it is definitely transferred. And if you're listening to that junk or watching negativity or hanging around negative people, and I know sometimes family hours and it's a little challenging. We actually have courses about that, don't we? It's not helping you. So you need to be able to guard yourself. Guard yourself. Don't let that crap in. And let me tell you straight up, it's crap. It's garbage. And the reason it's garbage is not because of the facts. If you just are hearing like I am for 90 seconds every morning, the facts, no problem. You know what's going on. Here's the fact. COVID virus, this and that. Stay at home. Put the mask on. That's simple. That's not what you're hearing anymore. All you hear all day long are opinions, views, opinions. I'm right, they're right, this, arguing, debating, this, that. That's not good for you, okay? That's fighting. Can you imagine imagine as a child, just imagine. You say, well, we said earlier, like, hey, what happens if you grow up, does your childhood make a difference when you growing up? I'm asking you, Marcus, I'm asking all of your audience right now. You tell me if it makes a difference. Okay, so little Johnny or little Susie grows up in a family where it's very loving, very considerate. Everyone's nice to each other the best they can be, right? Everyone's generous. They learn to share. They learn to give. They donate. They're good people, all of that. And they're supportive. And yes, you could do a little Johnny and a little Susie. You know, we're behind you. We'll support you in anything you want to do, as long as you love it. And, you know, that's one way to grow up. Okay. Now, there's a way you're going to be thinking, right? Another way, some people grow up, unfortunately. Can you imagine growing up with parents who all they do is fight? Every day, all day long, fight, argue, they might even use physical violence. They're demeaning. You stupid, like, don't you think that would have a bit of an effect on you? Yeah, of course. Everyone says, of course. Why do you think that's changed? Because you're bigger now. Nothing's changed. You listen to people arguing, fighting, debating, bullshit. I need to know. No, you need to know the headlines, the 90-second version. That's it for the day. And then whatever Marcus is teaching you about investing news, you need to understand that. But the freaking, you're crazy. What's going to happen? And just so you know, it's all about money. It's all about money, and it's all about power. Not yours, theirs. You watch these news shows, and you can just see right through these people. So they'll have their panel come on. Here's the headline. The panel comes on to discuss it. Now, every news station, I don't care which one it is, and they're all biased. They have an agenda towards electing who they want and putting out but it's all based in fear, because your mind is a survival mechanism. It's a protective mechanism. So it's based in protection. And the feeling you get for protection is fear. So how do they get you to keep watching? How do they get you to keep reading? Fear, 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 fear. Instilling fear. What's going to happen? I should watch next hour. And then what about tomorrow? I have to see what's going to happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? What if that? That's the way the mind works. And they know this. And they suck you in with the fear. That's why they keep on propagating it. And then they have the panelists that come in, and this one's that fear, and this one, they argue with this and this. And who are these people? You know who they are? They are people who want to be on television, or want to be heard, or they're wanting to build their name up, their own private label, private brand, so that what? They can get their own show. Do you know what some of these, I don't know about in England, because I don't, but like Anderson Cooper and all these guys, they make millions of dollars in salary a year. It's not like, oh, we're some journalists, some starving. No, salary alone, $4 million, $4 million. And all the promotional stuff and all the perks you can get and the book that's coming for $50 million. That's all they want. Their own show, their own money, they're building their private brand. And how do you do that? By being adamant about some stupid point that you don't even know if you believe, but they called you in the morning and say, can you argue this side? Sure, I'll argue that side. It's a show. You understand? It's entertainment. Their job is to get you to watch so they can get advertisers to pay for it and get their crappy, massive salaries, and everybody makes a shitload of money. You got to see through this game. Sorry, I didn't want to end like that. But you people, you got to recognize what's going on here, okay? It's a game, and they're not playing with you. You are the pawn. You are the pawn. I'm not going to be a pawn. I don't listen to them. And even when I click the channel, like going through, and I see CNN, which stands for constantly negative news, any of them, I can't even wait to get off it. Like if my finger gets stuck and I see, it's always a ticker, killer law, murder, Trump law. Like, what on earth are they doing to the psyche of people? They're destroying the world. The worst thing that ever happened, 24-hour news. Because you know what the problem is with 24 hours news? You got to fill up 24 hours with a bunch of crap that isn't news. So that's why, clean up your mindset. Don't listen to the negativity. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the fear mongers. That's what all those people are. Don't listen to that. Clean yourself up. Go on a news diet. Go on a get away from negativity. Don't eat. Would you eat? I mean, some of you would, but if you ate donuts, 50 donuts a day, every day, how long do you think you would last? Your body would destroy itself. You become diabetic, and within a year, you'd be dead. Well, that's what you're doing when you're listening to this garbage. Okay, don't do it. And I'm being more than adamant because I tell people nicely, and they still do it. And then they say, well, why aren't I successful? Because you're in fear. You're in negativity. Everything bad's going to happen. When you listen to people like myself and Marcus, the world right now, oh my God, it's ripe for the picking. It is so ripe. There are so many new opportunities that are happening right this second. in business, and Marcus, I'm sure in the stock market and in investment world, it's crazy. There's no relation between the economy and the stock market right now. And it's like, it's people are making crap loads of money. My wife, Michelle, she never played the stock market in her life. She's had, stockbrokers handle it. You know what she's doing every morning? She's got like 50 companies she's following charts, and she plays the stock market every single morning for about half an hour, and she's making a killing. She doesn't even know much about it, but she understands a little bit enough. Even she is killing it right now. Got like 100% in the last month. It's like, can I do that? Yeah, if you learn from Marcus, if you learn on that side, if you learn from hopefully myself, maybe if you don't like my style, then don't learn from me, but the book is still adamant, but I'm just telling you the way it is. We have, Marcus, you said 2 million, you know how many Secrets of the Millionaire Mind books alone have been sold? Almost 1.5 million just in Brazil. There's 4.5 million books sold. Okay, that's a lot of students, right? That's a lot of feedback. So, I like all I tell you, everybody, is this is what worked for me. This is what continues to work for me. And this is what's working for millions of people at different levels, of course. Not everybody becomes rich overnight, but most people, when we see them again, they're doing a hell of a lot better. And then they tweak it a little bit and they do better again. Then they take another course, they do even better. It works. That's all I can tell you. So, I hope that you're willing to I hope you gained something out of this conversation with Marcus. You're with the right person. I can tell you that for sure. Sometimes you don't know. I can tell you Marcus is one of the good guys. He's got a beautiful heart. He knows what he's talking about. He really wants to help, as do I, which is the only reason. You were going to ask me, Marcus, if I retired.
Yeah, because you were like right at the top, and then suddenly you're like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, why?
Yeah, well, it wasn't that I'm not doing this anymore. I do it differently. So I do these type of interviews. Not very often, as you saw. Getting through to our group to get me on the call was not an easy chore. If I could turn this around, you'd see the golf course in the mountains behind me here. I don't know if you can.
Which house are you in at the moment, by the way?
The house you're in.
Oh, in Lake Tahoe? Oh,
yeah.
You're right at the top. You've got the best view.
Yeah. So I like doing a lot of different things. And everyone, you need to know your values in life. My highest value in life, other than love and that kind of thing, isn't money. My highest value in life is freedom. And so, when I was able to sell my company, and even though as a personal teacher, I can still do that. And I was opening countries left and right. At some point in time, I said, you know what? I'm a bit tired of doing this. We said, well, where do you want to travel next? I don't know, maybe golf in England, and we're going to go to Croatia and Greece because Michelle's never been. And that's about it. Been, 100 something countries. There's not that much I want to do. I just want my freedom. I want to be able to do what I feel like doing in this moment. I want to practice being in the moment. I feel like doing this, I just do it. I feel like reading, I read. I feel like walking, I walk. I exercise most mornings. I love my life. I wish everybody the life that I have. I have several homes that we go to. I live in Maui. I live in the mountains. I live in some beautiful areas, and I still teach. And I have been writing something for over 2 years, and it's not ready. It'll probably take at least till the end of this year until it's pretty close. But Marcus, as you know, it's going to be good when it does finish. I think it's going to be really, really, really helpful. I think it's going to be a life changer for a lot of millions of people. So I'm writing that, and I just don't talk about it very much.
Okay, well, I can't wait. And obviously, once we download that book, we'll be able to get that information as and when it comes out as well. So listen, thanks again, Harv. I mean, you went over and above, not just content-wise, but as usual. This is what I mean.
Well, you and I are similar. We just want to help people. And if you can give any advice to people that might help them, you want to share that. And at least I do. And I know you do. And, I think that everyone who gets, it's free. You might as well just get the Speed Wealth book and go through that. Put it in if you're not sure, if you put it in, somewhere you can read it on your phone or something like that. Put it in the bathroom or whatever. Just read it. You don't have to even read it all at once. You could read it, 5 minutes each day or whatever. But you need to get these principles down, and they're gonna seem obvious. They're gonna say, well, shit, like, yeah, of course, yeah. Why didn't anybody ever tell me this before? I wish. And that's why I wrote that book. It's like I wrote the book that I wish someone would have told me when I was struggling, or when I wanted to do better and I wasn't doing better. And by the way, everybody, I don't want to be droning on and everything, but money's important. People who don't, let me just say this right now. Everyone listen closely. If you don't think money's important, one thing we know for sure is you're not going to have much of it. You just won't, because you won't be willing to put out what it takes to get the result of money. But as you know, Marcus, I don't even know if you fully know this, but when we were working together, which is a lot, and we're offering other programs at the program, right? In the Millionaire Mind, we offer business programs, life direction, trainer programs, high-level personal development programs like Enlightened Warrior training. So we say, listen, if you like this and you like learning from us, here's some other arenas that might help you. If you're interested, that's where you can register if you feel like it, right? We do that. And hopefully everybody understands that's the back end. You want to support the people. But one thing everybody should know about me, and I hardly ever tell people this, is that there's a lot of money involved, right, Marcus? There is millions of dollars involved every weekend, because it costs them like $1 million to put on an event for 5,000 people. There's millions of dollars going through, and people ask, like staff will say, so how are we doing? How are we doing this? How many of these did we sell? How many of those did people buy? I go, I don't know. What do you mean how many courses do we sell? I don't know. Don't you want to know? No, I don't. If they feel like they want the programs, then they'll buy them, and they'll take them, and they'll do well. I hope, that's why we're here. But I never counted money. I never counted dollars. I never go into someone and go, how much money did we make? Never. Am I interested in the numbers for one reason? How many people were we able to help this weekend? How many people showed up? How many people were able to do the program? That's the question I ask. And if it's for the next business program, how many people registered? I don't translate it to dollars. I don't know. Maybe my mind is a bit weird, but I think if you go out there to really, really help people, but you do it in an intelligent way, the way they want to be helped, and really make a difference in their lives, and you're good at it, and you really, really solve a problem for people or help them with that, you're going to do well. That's my feeling. So I appreciate you having me on.
Fantastic. Listen, everybody, that was over and above as usual. This is kind of what I was expecting. So I hope you took a lot of notes, because I certainly did. And if I were you, I would actually do two things. One, download the book immediately. And there'll be a link below, of course. I would look at the whole interview again afterwards. I would study it. Don't just listen, just study it, write things down, and then take action, because Harv is all about action. Remember, thoughts, feelings, actions equals results. Thanks again, Harv.
See you later.